Have you buckled up yet, baby? Because it's going to be a wild fourth quarter for Star Wars Hot Toys. The secondary market is off the charts. All of these releases at once. I've got some information from the Hot Toys Wizard on some announcements that are going to be absolutely coming this fourth quarter. I've got the coffee brewing. Let's just dive into it, baby. Right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So before we dive into this episode, I will be live once again, the Market Show live this coming Saturday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's right, folks. The Dark Jedi, Ares Terrington, who serves up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk, is going to be coming back to some Saturdays during this fall and the winter. And I will be live this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, October 23rd. You absolutely don't want to miss that. So please go ahead and book that on your calendars. But I'm always live on Friday, baby. And this Friday, it's going to be Dante from the Man of Hot Collectibles turn at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I will be on that show. You don't want to miss that either. So you're going to catch the Dark Jedi almost all weekend, baby, next weekend. This coming Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. This Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Is it possible you'll see me somewhere Sunday? How about the following Monday? We'll have to keep an eye on that. But if Hot Toys drop some bombs on us, you can rest assured that you'll be seeing some future Live and Raws. Is it possible that Live and Raw is going to be happening? I can tell you right now, there's going to be quite a few Live and Raws that are going to be happening because we are going to get blown out of the water with some announcements during this fourth quarter for sure. But what's going on right now with everything that we know about and that is officially out or announced or getting released or in the secondary market? There's a lot of stuff to go into here. Let's go ahead and, as we do with every episode of the Market Chart Show, and start off by going to 6 Scale Cantina. And if you don't have 6 Scale Cantina bookmarked yet, you may want to consider doing so. It not only has all of the Star Wars secondary market trends, whether they're going up, whether they're going down, whether they're steady, but all the secondary market prices, average prices, for all Star Wars Hot Toys. Not only that, all the latest videos and upcoming videos, flash live streams, baby. Remember, there's going to be quite a few Live and Raws that are going to be coming during this fourth quarter. You get all the information on the channel. But as you scroll down over here, you'll also get all the breaking news. And the latest breaking news, of course, that Lando Calrissian and the Short Trooper squad leader from Rogue One. And when there's going to be another new release and announcement, you can go to 6scalecantina.com and you'll see it right here. But let's check out the biggest movers. Wow. You got some interesting things going on over here. Take a look at what's up here, even from last week. And I'll do a quick scroll up and down, and we'll go over some of these and not necessarily go over the ones that we've already did from last week, which are still on the same trend, which is why they're here. But I think that this is very telling. And look what number one is again. Han Solo, but this time, the A New Hope version of Han Solo. This figure had trended up, then got steady, then trended up again a few months ago and got steady, and is now trending up once again. Let's go to some data, some recent data for Han Solo: A New Hope. I'm pulling this up onto the screen. You could see back here from October 12th, and that is $593.95 US, not including shipping and not including taxes for this figure. Wow. And look at that feedback. Over 60,000. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And it's 100% positive feedback. What a great seller. Wow, let's go to some more. You could see right here, back from October 11th, US seller, $650. Not including shipping, not including taxes. Near 650 feedback. I think I need a sip of coffee here. Wow. This figure is going insane. Just like the Han Solo Stormtrooper. And when you go back to sixscalecantina.com, let's actually go to the market value chart. Let's see exactly where this is sitting. And I'll go to that little search box and I'll type in Han, and then you'll have everything Han come up. And you can see right here, I'll highlight it, basically at the middle of your screen. Han Solo: A New Hope, MMS 261. Now $582 and trending up. Just $18 away from the $600 tier range. And if you remember, as I pointed out last week with news, on the bottom of the list, the Han Stormtrooper with the head sculpt that has the smirk, MMS 418, is $525 and trending up. So you have to wonder, is it possible that that Han Stormtrooper and that Han A New Hope figure, is it possible that they will breach, both of them, the $600 tier range? And I say, yes. Look, this figure is just going berserk right now in the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. And whether the version of this head sculpt for the original trilogy, the version with the smirk, with the Stormtrooper outfit, is better, or this one is better, I could tell you I have them both. And to me, they're both equally as good. And I could tell you that this is, besides the dark side Anakin, this is right with it for me for the dark. This may be my second favorite, or with the dark side Anakin, my favorite Hot Toy. It's just having Han Solo from A New Hope. It's very special to me. Very, very special. And forget about that Han Solo and Chewbacca 2-pack, which is showing some signs, possibly, of even starting to trend up from where it is. Because going back to the market value chart, you could see that that Han and Chewbacca from A New Hope, $900 and steady. And even this Han and Chewbacca from The Force Awakens, which is $600 and steady, is showing signs of trending up yet again. Remember, it trended up a couple of months ago. Then leveled out and is selling there, but now showing signs of raising up even more. And you have to wonder, how much demand is there for a Harrison Ford head sculpt in the original trilogy, because you could only get, besides the one from The Force Awakens, the only way that you're going to be able to get Han Solo right now is with the Stormtrooper head sculpt, or with this A New Hope version of Han Solo. And it's real interesting to see what is going on with all of these original trilogy figures right now within the secondary market. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and click on everything best-selling wise. Let me get this out here, and let me show you a little bit something within the market value chart. So remember, in order to, in that current value column, one of the things you can do is click on the current arrow within the current value column a couple of times. And now, as you can see, we'll get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures. But take a look at what's on the top. Let's go through this here. Han and Chewie, A New Hope. The 2-pack we were just talking about. $900 and steady. That's original trilogy. What's below it? Tarkin and Vader. $780 and steady. That's original trilogy. Luke Bespin exclusive, DX07. $705 and steady. And this is another one that is showing signs of going up yet again. Original trilogy. Boba Fett animated. $660 and steady. Again, basically original trilogy. You go under the dark side Anakin, you see the Emperor. $629 and steady, the deluxe version with the throne anyway. Another original trilogy figure. I can go on and on. There's that Han and Chewie from The Force Awakens. Certainly not the original trilogy, the sequels, but still legacy characters from the original trilogy. Han and Chewbacca. Han portrayed by Harrison Ford. Wow. Luke Bespin, the regular. You've got Han Solo, A New Hope, which I just showed you. I can go on and on as we go through these here, going down, up and down. This in particular list. And to me, it's very telling right now that there is a ginormous interest in original trilogy characters for a portion of collectors that collect Star Wars for Hot Toys. And I'm going to tie this into this Lando Calrissian, because I want to be able to point something out that hopefully can kind of open your eyes as to the long-term prospect for this particular piece that was just released by Hot Toys for Star Wars. And I'm going to pull up sideshow.com, and I am going to show everything just Star Wars Hot Toys and sort it out best-selling wise. And you could see up here on the screen. Look at what is number 5. And ahead of Luke. And ahead of the Mandalorian, both versions. And ahead of Ahsoka. And that other Luke. Are you kidding me? I can tell you right now, when Qui-Gon final production photos came out, it was nowhere near coming up to number 5. And certainly at no point ever got ahead of any of the Mandalorians. Not even close. So don't think for a second that this particular figure is going to sit in stock for a really, really long time. In the absolute worst case scenario, this Lando could sit in stock for as long as Qui-Gon did, 5 months. That would be your worst case scenario. Or how about the ESB, Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, or the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett Deluxe? So it'll sit in stock around 4 months. I'm giving you worst case scenario. I don't believe that at all, but let's say that it does. What does that mean for the long-term prospect of this Lando Calrissian if it winds up sitting in stock for 4 months? Wow. Let me show you what it means. And what we'll do is we will go back to sixscalecantina.com. Let's go back to the biggest movers section, actually. And let's glance over what's going on here. Wow. Well, we'll look at what's near the top. The 40th anniversary Boba Fett Deluxe. What's below the Boba Fett 40th anniversary Deluxe? The ESB 40th anniversary Darth Vader. And these are reissues, my friends. Digest that for a minute. I need another sip, baby. How are these figures doing? Let's see if I could pull up some stuff on some of these figures. Here's a Boba Fett Deluxe. Just back from October 11th. $349.99. $350 with free shipping, not including taxes. Outstanding seller, near 500 feedback. Let's see if I could pull up some more. Let's actually go to Vader, so we can continue on with this point. Another outstanding seller, Hawk Wars Toys. $390. Best offer accepted. So probably around $380, $375. Wow. And let's actually go to the market value chart and put both of these in. And since we just talked about the Vader, let's type him in first and then we'll go to Fett. So I'll go to that search box, I'll type in Vader. We'll see everything that comes up. And at the top of the list, you see Darth Vader, Empire Strikes Back 40th. MMS 572. $368 and rising. Let's type in Fett. It's going to be quite a bit that comes up. Let's go to that Deluxe 40th. I'll highlight it. It's near the middle of your screen. I scrolled it up to. MMS 574. Now $339 and rising. And these figures don't even come with a head sculpt. They come with helmets. You get half of Vader's. You got the back of his head. It's a little telling. So even if this Lando, even if it sits and sits for month after month after month after month, just like 4 months, is it going to be like The Force Awakens Kylo Ren, below retail and selling for $170? Is there going to be a scenario where with this Lando Calrissian, really want you to think about this, where you have all these Hans, and all these Lukes, and all these Leias, and Chewbacca's, and R2 from the original trilogy. They're all going to be $400, $500, $600, maybe $700 tier range figures. But Lando's going to be a bottom feeder because nobody's interested. Are you kidding me? Look, they didn't make very many of this Lando Calrissian. This is a limited run, my friends. And you can see where this is selling right now. When you sort this out best-selling wise. And I can tell you when they came out with the final production photos of the Qui-Gon, and they released that Boba Fett 40th, and released that Darth Vader 40th in the Empire Strikes Back 40th packaging, that they were not ahead of the Mandalorian. And I don't think they were even ahead of Ahsoka. They were nowhere near the list where this is right now. And don't buy the storyline that there's nothing to pose this Lando with. There's nothing really to pose that there's more to pose this with than the DX07. And people want that figure. Well, that's Luke. That's not Lando. Lando's a secondary character. No, he's not. He might not have been in A New Hope. But rest assured that in The Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi, your four main actors in that movie, so Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Billy D. Williams. Those are the four big stars of each one of those movies. And Lando was considered right up there with those three during The Empire Strikes Back and during Return of the Jedi. This is a huge primary character in Star Wars. And I feel like sometimes as some collectors or some fans don't remember that. Just how prominent Lando Calrissian is. This isn't Kit Fisto. This isn't Eve Koth. This isn't Ki-Adi-Mundi. This is Lando Calrissian. And as I go through these here, you don't need to be able to pose this figure, just like the DX07, with every single character that you have. There are so many figures you can pose this with to begin with. And there are, make no mistake, there are a large segment of collectors that need the exact scene to pose these with. That is true. But there's also a large segment that don't need that, including myself. I have the Bespin Leia. And I have zero intentions of ever posing that figure with this Lando. That's not what it's about for me. For some collectors it is, and there's a large portion of it. But there's also, let me open your eyes, a large portion that don't do it that way. My Bespin Leia is going to stay with the Leias. It's right behind me. That's where it's going to stay. No figures to pose this with? It's kind of ironic. I was just talking about the 40th ESB Fett and the 40th ESB Darth Vader. You see how they're doing in the secondary market. What are you going to pose the ESB Fett with? It doesn't matter. It's Fett. Is it possible it doesn't matter? That's Lando? And I say, yes, don't kid yourself. There's going to be a lot of people who jump all over this figure, regardless if you can't pose it with certain figures or you don't have certain poses to pose it with. Heck, just pose it with Mickey Mouse, baby. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. Lower production numbers, more figures, even if you are not going to buy it. Someone's going to buy it. Someone bought that Venom. That's why they're going to come out with this. And probably not with that head sculpt, with the masterful one, the one from The Rise of Skywalker. This one here. But why Ares? I don't want that figure. Some people don't want the Venom figure either. Some people don't want the Lando figure. You don't think they would sell 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 of this? And there's no investment in a mold because you already have this done? That's what's going to happen here. They made a limited run of this figure. And it was already tested. It's sold out. And not only did it sell out, it is rising within the secondary market. And remember, companies like Hot Toys pay attention to that stuff. Oh, they don't pay attention to that, Aries. They don't have time for that. Oh, yeah, they do. You think we as collectors that have an interest pay attention to the secondary market for the things that we love? They love it more than us because it's their business, baby. They're paying attention. And is it possible that that they could sell a few thousand of this? No investment. Head sculpt's already done. New clothing, little different paint apps, change the eyes. And that's the same thing here. Oh, there's no way that they would do this again. Sure there is. The head sculpt's already done. And when this sells out from whatever quantity that they made of this, they're going to go ahead and give you the Return of the Jedi Lando Calrissian. But not everybody's going to buy it. Right. Not everybody's going to buy it. But some are. Not everybody bought the Bespin Leia. Not everybody bought the Endor Leia. Not everybody bought the Wicket. Everybody didn't buy the Luke Endor. It's not about everybody buying it. Certain figures it is about mass appeal, like the Mandalorian. Like some of the Iron Man figures. Not this figure. You need to think logically about this stuff. It's too much for me. Well, don't buy it. I didn't buy the Venom. It's too much for me. I don't buy Honey Nut Cheerios. Not what I like. I've liked it before, though. I always went back to regular Cheerios. Will I buy it again? Possibly. They make big bucks out of being able to, they come up with a mold, they come up with a certain pattern, And if they're able to reuse it again, it's easy money. That's why you're going to get a lot of clones. You talk about the Incinerator Trooper, the Remnant Trooper, the Death Trooper, Stormtrooper Commander, whatever that other one is, the Artillery Trooper. Are you kidding me? What about clone molds? And forget about Tamora Morrison head sculpt. They're going to produce that like crazy. Not everybody's going to buy those either. Right. I can tell you right now, not everybody's going to buy the Clone Wars Ahsoka. Why are they producing it? Because some people are. It's not going to sell like the Mandalorian, the Clone Wars Ahsoka. It's not. There's still a good reason to produce it. I'm putting a yellow alert on this figure. Because there's no way you're going to have all those original trilogy figures in the secondary market moving the way they are. People are just going to pass on Lando. Pulling this up on the screen. October 9th, Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, $375. 100% positive feedback. 96, 4 away from 100. Wow. October 4th, 17 bids. Outstanding seller, 426 feedback, all 100% positive. $350. The interest for this figure is going up, just as I predicted. $380. Another outstanding seller. And this is a listing. And it hasn't sold yet. The 17 watchers. And this is a pretty reasonable price for what this is going for. I'm pulling up another one. Another listing ongoing right now. And this one's just about right on the money. Maybe a little bit less. Another listing. Hawk Wars Toys. Outstanding seller. Almost 1,200 feedback. All 100% positive. Usually right on with the trends. $365. And again, you get a ton of watchers with these at that price, which indicates that that's what people are paying for these. And going to the market value chart, let's type in the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian. Pulling up Heavy, sandwiched in between the Praetorian Guards, TMS 010, $372 and rising. Wow. This figure is unreal, folks. And I could tell you right now that they're going to come out with this figure again for sure. So for those of you that have missed out on this, I would hold out until Season 3 of The Mandalorian, where this character comes out, and I think that you're going to get a version that's going to have some different wear and tear and some different, perhaps, accessories or whatnot on it. Because I believe that Hot Toys would be very savvy in this regard. Not only would you get the collectors that missed out on this figure to buy a Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, but you would get many collectors, not all, but many of them, including myself. If they come out with a slightly different version of this, I probably pick up that Season 3 version as well. So not only do you get the collectors that missed out on this, but now you're going to go ahead and get the collectors that already have this give them a reason to get another one, even if it's just another insignia or another mark or a couple of scratches on the outfit. And all bets are off if it comes with a head sculpt, which it is possible the story arc can go that way. I mean, we kind of don't have to dive into all that, but we know where it could go. There could be a situation where that happens. There could even be a situation where somebody walks in on the heavy infantry Mandalorian while he's eating and the helmet's off and he goes berserk. But that's a reason for another figure because you had him without the head sculpt. There's always a way. But is this going to come out again? In some capacity it will. It's a Mandalorian and it's just like the clone troopers. Is the 212 going to come out? The airborne trooper going to come out? Is Commander Fox going to go? They already talked about Commander Fox. Just look at Ahsoka's bio in there. They're bringing that up. It's gonna come out. Until we stop buying clones, it's gonna come out. You're gonna get Gree. You're gonna get Wolf. You're gonna get all the Bad Batch figures. It's already confirmed from my insiders anyway that they plan on doing all 5. They already came out with Hunter and Echo. And they're going to have a second season of the Bad Batch. They need another 2 or 3 figures to come out of that. For the next one, they're going to come out. And especially with the Tamora Morrison head sculpt, they pretty much have the mold. All they got to do is change the paint. It's easy for them. It's not a brand new thing. It's not completely brand new anyway. Let's go back to the biggest mover section, a 6-scale Cantina. Then you can see here, wow, Han A New Hope, Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo Stormtrooper, Darth Vader 40th. We already talked about the Anakin last week, and the Stormtrooper disguises last week. Let's talk about this Death Trooper Specialist. It's another point. How is that heavy infantry Mandalorian, the one I was just showing? How is it going to do if a new one comes out? Sometimes it's difficult to tell because not every figure trends the same way. But I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to go the same way as like this Death Trooper Specialist, because you can go ahead and you can see that that's trending up. And you could come out with a figure that's basically the same, which is what that Death Trooper from the Mandalorian is. And it's not affecting these Death Troopers for Rogue One within the secondary market whatsoever. And pulling up some recent data, you can see right here, back from October 10th, with 13 bids, $500. Not including shipping, not including taxes. Wow. But yet you could go ahead for twice as less and get a Death Trooper from the Mandalorian. So what is the long-term prospect for the OG Heavy Infantry Mandalorian? This figure all day long is going to be a $400 tier range figure. How high it goes, if it's going to be low, if it's going to be high, if it's going to be mid, we'll have to keep an eye on it. But with all the Mandalorians that are going to be coming out, there's going to be a plethora of collectors, not everyone, but a good portion, that are just going to want this character, and this character from the way that he looked from the Mandalorian Season 1 within their collection. So certainly this figure going back up and creeping back up towards the $400 tier range is not a mystery to me. Let's look at Cody and Rey, which are also in the biggest mover section. Cody's starting to catch even more fire. Back from October 15th, $439.99 in free shipping, not including taxes. $440. Seller with over 1,000 feedback. And when you pull up listings for when he's just around 420 or 430, you get 19 watchers, and sometimes all these watchers. What does that mean? It means that it's being considered to buy at that price. And when you pull up everything, Cody, if you don't pay attention when you pull up everything, Cody, on eBay, whether you do it by the MMS number or by just typing in Star Wars Hot Toys Cody, you would think that there's a lot, but there's not. There's a lot of parts that are available when you scroll down. A lot of parts, helmets, the torso, the this, the that, the base, blah, 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 blah. There's not a whole lot of these available that are on sale from the US. You have your typical overseas sellers that have outrageous prices right now, like $660. But all your US sellers, like this one here, is going to be around $420, $430, $450. And, but again, close to $600, $579 again. Whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia, whether it's those figures. But there's hardly any available right now. Because people aren't selling this Cody right now. And certainly Rex is a big factor of that. And Rex hasn't even begun to sell. And that's number one. Well, what do you mean, Aries? You haven't even got Ahsoka out yet. You have Ahsoka, you got the Clone Wars Mall. Wow. What's going to happen then? That's already number one. Rey has the same dynamic. When you put in the Rey and Dio everything, there's just not a whole lot available right now from the US, sure. And they're all around $320, $330. And that's where they're selling for, more often than not. Sure, do you get some listings where it could sell for $270, $280? Absolutely. It's an average. But more times than not over $300. There's just not a whole lot of them available from the US. You have a lot that's, you got a half dozen or so. Most of them are from overseas, which are all over basically $400, and some of them starting to go higher. And you get a lot of pieces from that set. And that's a good indication right now. When you're going $400 and close to $500 on some of these figures, these Reys from overseas, it's a good indication of where it's going to go when you look at the trends of all these other figures. You could just look at the Rey from The Last Jedi, and I can tell you right now, you could figure it out yourself where this is going to go. Because this was produced in far less numbers. And for many, this is the figure that has the most superior head sculpt. But it's all pieces. There's not a whole lot of this. Let's go to the market value chart and see exactly where Cody, Rey, and Rey are sitting. And a Death Trooper specialist. Since we went over those. So I'll go ahead, since we're on Rey, we'll stay on Rey. Type in Rey. You can see right here, Rey and Dio on the bottom of the list. Now 305. And rising. Let's put in Cody. Now $427 now. Wow, it has breached the $425 tier range. That is absolutely crazy. And I've mentioned this before. There's going to be some collectors that can do without Cody that have Rex. But I believe there's going to be more of a majority that once they get the Rex, they're just going to need this Cody. And I think that's why you're starting to see this figure really trend up where it is. And I've talked about it before. Is it possible this figure will break the $500 tier range? And I say, yes. Wow. I mean, just look at those old clones. You can look at these two figures from the Sideshow versions. and all the clone versions from there. And really, a lot of people that, grew up with this movie anyway, they're starting to come of age now. And this figure is only going to be more and more in demand. But is it possible that we actually get a reissue of this figure or a different version of this figure in the future? We're going to have to keep an eye on it. But I could tell you right now, you can go ahead and go back to the biggest mover section. And let me show you 3 figures that are on there that are all reissues. Boba Fett, 40th Deluxe. Below him, Empire Strikes Back, 40th Deluxe. Attack of the Clones Yoda. Sure. Probably not right now. Could we possibly get a different version? I could see that. The way that all these clones are moving. There could be so many scenarios. There could be a situation where they pack Cody in a multi-pack. You never know. Staying on that biggest mover section. Jyn Erso. Jyn Erso is going up, whether it's the Imperial disguise, the Deluxe and non-Deluxe. That one is going up. We've already talked about, like I said, the Stormtroopers, the Anakins from last week. It's pretty much the same scenario right now. The Anakins are showing signs of leveling off. Actually, they're the regular light side Anakins showing some signs of starting to come up again. I'm expecting the same thing with the dark side Anakin, so we're going to keep an eye on that over the next several weeks to see exactly what happens. Remnant Trooper, Incinerator Trooper trending down. Mud Trooper trending down. It's going to be interesting. I talked about the Mud Trooper the last time. I don't think that's going to be a continual thing. That is a trooper. It comes with Han Solo. The Han Solo Deluxe is actually trending up. This one right here. And I suspect the Mud Trooper will as well. If you're looking for a Mud Trooper, you've been in the market for a Mud Trooper, or Han Solo Deluxe from the Solo movie, this may be the time to pull the string and actually go for it, because I think they're going to go up high. That's what you're looking at here. So, let's go to the last part of this version of the market show. Listen. I think you're going to get some announcements out of left field. Remember last year around this time, we got the Lando out of nowhere? Is it possible we're going to have 1 or 2 or several of those before the end of this 4th quarter? And I say yes. And it could be. Low production numbers. Now look, I'm not just talking about the obvious. What's upcoming soon on Sideshow? We went over all those. All the Mandalorian figures. We got X-Wolves, Casca Reeves, the Cobb Vanth, Fennec Shand. And those are all coming. The Obi-Wan, the Clone Wars Obi-Wan, for sure. Probably Padme. You're going to get a lot of that stuff. But what's going to come out of left field that we really don't think is going to come out? And it's going to be interesting. But, I really think you're going to get some stuff that's going to blow you away. And as I get more coffee here talking about, actually, I'm getting a call right now from the Hot Toys Wizard, baby. Wizard, you sound like Natalie Portman. I'm breaking your heart. Really? Are you sure? Okay. I'll let everyone know. You'll call me later? Thanks. Bye. You didn't hang up on me. That was like when they had the voice of Harrison Ford. Must be the Harrison Ford and Natalie Portman thing. Like the Hot Toys Wizard that way. Well, is it possible for the figure that I'm going to put up on the screen that it could come out or be officially announced or teased before the end of this year? And the Hot Toys wizard says, yes. Left field. Where did this come from? I think you're going to get the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader out of nowhere. They need a Vader up here. And they can, sure, they could go ahead and reissue again the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, or put up a Rogue One again, or even the A New Hope one. But for a lot of collectors that already have those now, you can put out the Return of the Jedi one and not only get a majority or a large portion of those collectors, such as myself, to buy a new Return of the Jedi version. You would get a lot of people that are just looking for a Vader to come in and get a Vader with a, Return of the Jedi Vader. How about some really crazy, crazy stuff out of left field? And let's see if I can get this to show up on the screen. Wishful thinking. I know. Wishful thinking. Because I know there's no way in the world, especially now that they're going to be putting out figures a lot like with some of Marvel, putting that in perspective and like that, Venomize this, Venomize that, limited runs. I know this will never sell as much as the Blurg. The Blurg will blow the Tauntaun out of the water. I love Nick Nolte as Quill. But just, come on, if you have to choose, Quill, Hoth Luke. I'm going to get them both, but if I had to choose, if I had to choose Tauntaun or Quill, I'm just being honest. Yeah, I know, we talked about it already. Not everybody's going to buy this. Not everybody's going to buy Dr. Pepper and cream soda. Not everybody's going to buy Cherry Coke. Not everybody's going to buy Almond Nut Cheerios. Please go ahead and subscribe to 6 Scale Cantina. I so very much appreciate your support. I will be live on the Man of Hot Collectibles show this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're live every Friday. His turn this Friday. I'll also be live the night after, 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, October 23rd. Market Show Live. What about Live and Raw, Aries? Well, when we get that Fennec, when we get that Cobb Vanth, baby, when we get something out of left field like this, there's going to be some stuff coming. You're going to want to follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, because with some of these flash streams, and they're going to be incoming, and those flash ones are live and raw, baby, you're going to know about it if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. I got the links within the video description below. If you enjoyed what you watched here today, and you want some expanded analysis, some heightened thoughts, maybe some crazy unboxings, maybe you want to see the Hot Toys Wizard, you may want to consider becoming a Cantina Insider. Just go to the channel, click on that little join button, see everything that it comes with. If it's of interest to you and you think you could benefit from it, you may want to consider joining it. For sure. Remember, I don't always buy coffee out. But when I do, I buy from 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.